consciousness. Join the Sacred Kingdom community as we explore the deepest mysteries of existence. Subscribe to Sacred Kingdom on YouTube for this transformative live series.
Open your mind, diaphragmatic rhythm when I rhyme. Feeling like everybody in hell so divine. Watch what I do with this, then you call time. Rewind, I like projectors of reality like animation. Kamehameha, shining brighter than yellow. Of one originator, homie, I am Ra. Mr. Consciousness, I heard you got a lot of bliss. You're talking knowledge with a twist. You're putting love inside the mix. It makes me slowly reminisce on days we went through the abyss. So the light turned into mist. Tell me, Mr. Consciousness. Hey, Mr. Consciousness, I heard you've got a lot of bliss. You're talking knowledge with a twist. You're putting love inside the mix. It makes me slowly reminisce on days we went through the abyss. So the light turned into mist. Tell me, Mr. Consciousness. Chilling with those in the holes of a mentee. I go deep, I do not sleep. This energy don't go empty. Do not tempt me, I'm in cities you only find in the astral. It goes on and on. I call it fractals on fractals. I'm spitting.
Grand day, everybody. Welcome to this first ever edition of What is Consciousness, the new podcast from the Sacred Kingdom community. I am Marcus Christo Ally of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, and of Organics Essence we have.
This is Ally. Some of you know me as Lunar Queen. I'm the owner of Organics Essence, Gems, and Gifts. So you probably see my crystals all the time. I always like to share them. So that's me.
I'm Sandra with Soul Awakening with Sandra, Star Meditations, Soul Conversations. That's me, bringing you love, light, and peace.
That's right. And we are three of the members of the Sacred Kingdom community. We are an international community of starseeds, visionaries, producers, holistic healers, mediums, readers, as well as independent business owners. And we have came together to help bridge community worldwide, as well as supply knowledge and wisdom to help people obtain holistic and conscious everyday living, not only for their own self, but for their children, for their family, and all of their loved ones. We are open to other members to join our community as well to help build and grow the new earth that we are building. And along with that, you guys can follow our YouTube channel, Sacred Kingdom. We also have a Facebook page, Sacred Kingdom Community as well. Soon we are going to be launching a membership program as well as mystery school and mentorship that will be available for the public. So keep an eye out for that. You guys can check out our link page by going to the QR code on the screen. This QR code will take you to our link page where you will be able to browse all of our services, products, as well as the crystals that Ally owns with our crystal shop. So you guys just tune in, tap in, ask questions, and follow us. If you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Spread the word to your loved ones. With that, I will go ahead and hand it over to Ally as she will take over for What is Consciousness.
Thank you. Okay, so this is going to be a fun podcast, right? Because consciousness is so complex. And there's so many things that we can touch on and reach just in this conversation, right? Hey, Rhonda. So there's life, there's movement, there's motion, memory, time, experiences. There's just so much we can touch on. But I'm just wondering, I want to ask you two, what was the first thing that made you feel like you've been here before?
Wow. That's a deep question.
I know.
That's a deep question. Did you want to go first, Marcus? No. Okay. For me, how I knew is everyone who knows me up till now knows that I say, don't be afraid to sit at the seat of your soul, of your higher being. When I sat with my highest being and had a conversation, or allowed myself to listen to a conversation between my higher self and my egoic self, or my little I started to find out information, or information was opened up to me, stuff, things that were already there within me, things that felt very ancient, not old, not not part of history here, like you would say, Ra, or the goddess Isis or whatnot, that you can, trace back, 3,000 years or whatnot, just much older. And the more I actually sat with my highest being and just allowed, not tried to, at first when I was sitting, I was judging it. It was like, this can't be true. I'm trying to think I'm bigger than somebody else, or more than somebody else, or I'm trying to make things up because I should be quote unquote spiritual. But when I actually sat and listened to my higher being and allowed my higher being to give me their story, I started to understand that there were other lives that my higher being was, right? It doesn't mean that I was acting out anything. It doesn't mean that I had to have something karmic to fix. It just meant I got to see how they lived in how their story that they're presenting to me from other, not even times here on this earth, but just in the quantum realities of other times and other dimensions. Sometimes even when I would sleep, when I would have dreams, I would wake up and then my ego would say, well, that was a dream, you can't make sense of that. And my higher being would say, oh no, that was real. We just showed you something, that kind of thing. I'm still going through how to fit it all. What's really meant for me to know, if everything I'm given from my higher self is meant for me to fix or tweak or what, or just to know.
Yes.
So it just started with meditating, and like Marcus always says in all of his lives, and also with the raw, is that we got to know ourselves, know thyself. When you start with you and you allow yourself to be comfortable with you, and you allow yourself to you allow your higher self to, sometimes we don't give our higher selves comfort to explain to us, because our ego is trying to get us to judge it. But when I found, for me, I don't know about anyone else, when I allowed my higher self to surrender the information without judgment and without discernment, just tell it to me, right? Then after it's told, I can kind of like a stew that's simmering. I can just simmer in it. Let me see where it's going to take me. Kind of like the book, The Surrender Experiment. I'm going to surrender to life, and I'm going to see where life has taken me. I'm going to surrender to my highest being. Tell me what you want to know. I used to always fight my higher self because my higher self would want to tell me how old or how ancient my being is. And used to go, oh, no, no, I don't need to know that because I don't want to be, be presented with any information that might make my ego think I'm better than or bigger than somebody else.
Mm.
And once I let go of that and so just surrendered to my higher being saying, hey, I want to tell you these stories. I want to share this with you. And then I could ask the embodying questions. Well, is this for me to work out certain situations or circumstances that need to heal something?
Mm.
I'm still working on it,
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Wow. That's a beautiful connection, like just being connected and being able to receive that information, right?
Right.
And that deep consciousness, that deep conscious connection, right? And being able to like take the downloads and let them come in as they want to flow, because we're always learning more and we're always expanding with everything that we know and everything that
Right.
like our soul and our DNA knows. And it's like giving us little pieces at a time, but the whole time our DNA knows. So it's
Right.
nice, like as we're able to receive it to our ego, as our ego allows us to receive it, and then like integrate it into our lives.
Yeah. And not for me, I had to learn to surrender. I had to learn to be that fly on the wall, listening to my higher self teach the little I in me. I could actually start to hear my higher self say, little one, she's got this. Or little one, let her figure it out. Or little one, she needs to figure it out on her own. She's almost there. Matter of fact, little one, listen. And just it amazed me to be a fly on the wall and listen to all that ancient wisdom, so really wonderful. How about one of you? Do one of you want to share?
Do you want to go, Marcus, or I can go?
Yeah, so what was the question again?
When did you first realize that you had past lives, like that you've been reincarnated?
Oh, okay. Great question. Oh, you guys ready for this? So I've never really talked about this live before.
Are
So
you
this will
ready?
be the first time I disclose this. Oh yeah, big time. All right, so I first started becoming aware of my previous incarnations, as his higher self. And that happened in 2000, and I'd say 14 is when I started to kind of think about it. 2015 was when I then had sat with two different mediums, and these two different mediums confirmed the two same past lives that I had in this human journey. So 2015, I'm about 19, going on 20. And during this time period, I just started learning about Reiki. I started learning about chakras, galactic lineages, things of that nature. Hermetic principles, the Book of the Dead, the Egyptian one. So then I came across two of these mediums, and these mediums weren't like kind of like sought after traditional, like sit down and have a service. It was like they came into my life, and then they had a major connection in my life. And then they were able to read into my field and tell me the things that they told me. So it was one of those things where I didn't really seek it. It was kind of like it came to me, it attracted to me through the people that attracted into my life. And these two individuals I found out I had a major connection with on a soul level, and they were like my soul family. And they were meant to come into my life in those moments to help activate these memories in me, to help me on my journey. So it was really fascinating. And the first past life that was talked about by both of these mediums and felt confirmed within myself was a Navajo elder named Lion Dressed Elder Sensei. And then, what's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My ear rang as soon as you said that, like really loud.
Nice. So then I going back to, I'd say 2023, which is 8 years after I found this out. I'm laying on a Reiki table at a Reiki share. And a Reiki share is just like a group of Reiki practitioners that come together, and then we'll do like group Reiki sessions on each other to help each other heal and just release from all the energy that we carry. So I was with this wonderful, like, awesome group, and I was on the table, and they ended up doing like a psychic surgery on me, and turned out they had pulled out a etheric sword from my third eye. And what happened was during the Spanish and Native American War, I had taken a sword through my third eye, and that was the way that I passed from that lifetime. So while this happened, they were removing the sword from my energy body, and meanwhile, I'm laying on the table, and I can feel the presence of my whole entire tribe from the Navajo tribe standing around me while it's happening. So then that happens, and like every single practitioner there gave me like the biggest hug and like stuff. It was so like deep. And I remember I went home, I laid down, I played some like Navajo Native American music and just laid there and meditated. And I just like released so much energy. So that's one occurrence of past life, was the Navajo shamanic elder. And I also had met my partner during that lifetime as well. And yeah, it was really, really activating, that's for sure. And number two. Oh man, number two. Okay, so number two was also confirmed from both of these mediums. And I've already had so many ties to this civilization for a long time. But number two was they revealed that I had an incarnation as King Tutankhamun. And I had to work through a major throat chakra blockage from that lifetime. And that throat chakra blockage is because of the way that he had passing at a young age. Also, you know, passing due to wanting to bring back the order of the truth to Egypt and things of that nature. Some of that stuff kind of gets tucked away in the history, but it definitely wasn't just like a natural transition at that age that was supposed to happen, so to say. It was kind of some earthly things that took place in that timeline. So that was confirmed to me too, and I'll be honest, that second one was like really hard to even accept for a while, because we have this thing to idolize really, really big time in this human life. And, you know, the societal idolization of things can kind of cloud the realness of the actuality of something. So yeah, it could be a little difficult sometimes to like accept something like that when, you know, there's so much idolization in society about these kind of figures, so to say, but actual just other incarnations of other beings that live. It's fascinating. I mean, we see it with Yeshua. We see it with all these different characters. So those two were confirmed to me in 2015. They're two different mediums. And, you know, it was really fascinating with the Egypt one because I had wondered why I was so drawn to really like only Egypt stuff, like so much. And now I know why. So those were my two confirmations for that. I'll go ahead and throw a little bonus in there as well. 2015, I also discovered my soul lineage as well as a Lyran Christo from the Christo race. And that came through a Reiki session while I was receiving Reiki. And I didn't even set the intention to find out either. Just came through. I saw the vision of a standing lion humanoid. And after that moment, there was just a shift in my brain. And I just knew who I was connected to and what I was. And then it's been just an unfolding since. So 2015 was pretty big for me. Found out about those two past lives, and then I found out about my higher soul lineage as well.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. That's a lot to process at the beginning of your journey, right?
Yeah, so that was like the beginning. The beginning was like 2013, 14, and found out about all of that in 2015.
Wow.
So much opening up, you know, so much information,
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about like how your soul like just goes, reprocesses and gets ready to come back in this chain, you know. And when we learn about these things, it opens us up to like what else is possible, like how are, you know, the trees and everything, like what else, you know, how many times have the trees lived and things like that. So,
Yeah. You can even remember as ancient as being a tree, you know, or you know, being that raven, or being, you know, the greatest lion, you know, that lived, you know, 3,000 years ago, you know, that kind of thing. It's amazing. It's kind of like we as human beings, and I know this is the thought process, and some things are taught, that the human soul and a animal soul are two different, because I think they did a study that the animal soul, all dogs have one soul. They're all the dog soul, right? And all cats have one soul. They're all the animal soul, and they have, you know, pretty much these predestined things that they do. But when I was like deep in meditation, I was learning that I was a ancient animal. It's not like a dog or a cat. You know, it's from a whole different dimension, a whole different planet, and very smart, very cunning, very nurturing, very strong. And I remember that. I just don't remember all the details. The details were left out. It's just amazing, you know.
yeah, it is. It really makes me
Yeah.
think about the ants. Like, you know, when fire ants attack, it's like they all crowd, but then they bite at once. And like the way they communicate, it's like they move as one, right?
Yes.
It's very similar to how we move, but then we gain experiences and then gain like new things along our DNA that brings us to this, you know?
Right. Right.
Have you, well, I guess I'll go ahead and tell mine and then ask this next one. So for me personally, when I was a child, I remember being like 6 or 7, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're poor," like being upset that I reincarnated. And I was like poor in this life, and like from then I like that was like my waking up moment. And so from then I always knew like I'm reincarnated, And then I heard stories about a child losing his sister. Yeah. So his twin sister passed away. And there was a painting that only him and his twin knew about that their mother painted, sorry. And she passed away as well. So he grew up to be about 80 something years old. And he was met with another child who came to him and he said, "Hi, I'm your sister. Do you remember the painting?" So he was actually still alive to have his twin reincarnated. And I also remember watching that as a child, and that was like my double confirmation. It was like, I'm not crazy. This is on TV. Like, I know I'm not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really deep experience. I wish I remembered their names so y'all can look into the story if you were interested. So I ended up getting to about 20 before I really got back into everything that I knew as a child. And similar to Marcus, I also met with a medium who ended up telling me about some past lives. And I was like, okay. So for me, when I was a child, I was like, okay, I feel like I've been here before, but the medium confirmed that I had been here a lot. I've been here quite a few times. One of my memorable ones was the time before last, and I was hierarchy queen in Austria, and it was Maria Theresa, and it came to me in meditation, and I was like, okay. But when they would say my name, it would be Maria Risa, so it was really hard to find. But when I came in, like I was trying to astral project actually, and I was trying to learn how. But my guides kept bringing me to this space. So it was like a bird's eye view looking down into a courtroom of royalty. And I would come down and then I'd ask my guides, I'm like, who is this? They said, that's you. And I'm like, okay. And then they zoom me in closer and I start hearing my name and they're like, Maria Risa, Maria Risa. So I looked it up and I found Marie Antoinette's daughter. And it just wasn't resonating with me, so I put it on the back burner. And they were so persistent about me figuring this out that I ended up having a few dreams about it. And so I went back, I asked them to guide me back to it. And they said, you are Maria Theresa, Marie Antoinette's mother. You were her mother. And so I went and looked her up, and we actually have the same birthday on the day, May 13th. And it just started falling in line there. Like as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, oh, that's my face. Like I'm like, that's me, that's my face. And even though it doesn't really resemble me now, it might a little, but it was just so familiar. And then we had the same exact birthday. I was like, oh my gosh, so that was like my confirmation that I had to do from my soul, because like at the time I was still a little skeptical about believing what people would tell me about, oh, this was your past life, this is who you were. And when I would hear like a very famous name, I really didn't want to internalize it because it almost felt like they were making it up. So it really took that journey of me doing this journey myself to really internalize like, okay, I've been here before. I've done great things before, so now I can start my journey of like who I'm going to be in this life. And that also brings me to, like, I wonder if you guys, have y'all ever looked into your lineage from your past lives into your DNA? Like, have y'all done ancestry or anything like that to see, like, so for you, Marcus, for example, the Navajo, have you ever looked into your ancestry and seen, like, if that is prominent in your DNA now? Or if it was just, like, if you've jumped around?
Mm-hmm.
No?
I haven't looked at like any of my ancestry.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've had more. The more I listen to the shared stories of my higher being, right? And when I say being, there's more than one. Okay? It's not like I've got two souls, that one soul that jumped in and it's free riding. It's the higher beings of all that is and all that is not are now sharing stories with me. But a lot of my reincarnations, I guess, have not been, and I'm listening right, have not been earthbound, have not been with, kings and queens, and you know they've been out amongst, further amongst the stars than you know. I mean, the latest dream that I've been having that they've been giving me is, and it's really, I come off this dream and it sounds like something like a sci-fi movie, like somebody's writing a sci-fi movie within me, and I'm part of the story, and it literally starts with another clarion call, right? I'm being called this time back to earth. I'm being inducted by earth consciousness herself that tells me I've spent too much time without her, because we've traveled before she took on the position of earth consciousness, before she decided to take that body on, we spent most of our moments all over the galaxy, you know, I don't know, playing or doing or being or whatever. And I played with her for a time in earth consciousness. I played different roles, but then I guess as that ancient spirit got bored and I went to play somewhere else. And it's almost like she's done another clarion call. I literally, when I'm coming in, when she's calling me, I'm coming in. And when I hit the earth to stand there, I shake the whole earth, right?
Wow. Yes.
And it's kind of like the first thing, the roots come up out the earth, wrap themselves literally the ground of from my feet all the way in between my toes, all the way up. The air just starts rolling through me and all around me, and I just see everything. The fire starts pounding down on me, right? Kind of like, I don't know, cleansing me. I don't know what it is. So earth, wind, fire, you know, uh, all all parts of earth are making me whole in that, I guess in this earth moment, right? And then it's really weird is all of a sudden there's a flaming sword in one hand and a staff in the other, and I'm on this horse. And when I look back, I've got 6 other, I don't know, guardian angels. I don't know who they are, but they all kind of bow their heads and they're on this horse together. And I say, well, and then one of them says, why a horse? And all I say is, why not? This is what the earth expects us to do when we cleanse. And then I wake up. I'm like, okay. The first time it happened, it was like, okay, I must have watched a movie before I went to bed,
Right.
and right. And then the second time it gets clearer and it gets more, you know, succinct, and I see more, and I see the what I have to do. It's a clearing, it's a cleansing, and I'm going, oh, okay.
Wow.
Just really, I'm going to tell you some of it,
That's beautiful.
is deep,
Yeah.
it's deep.
And oddly enough, before we started, I heard the elements. They're like, and all the elements are a part of it: the fire, the water, the air, and the earth. They're all part of consciousness, but in their own unique way. They're
Yeah.
like the earth is like its own part of consciousness, and then the fire actually has its own part of consciousness, and so is the air and the water, and the ways that they work with our breed of consciousness is to purify, cleanse, and create. And it's so ironic. I wouldn't say ironic because I mean we are aligned here, but it's beautiful that you brought that up as well because, like, wow.
It's intense, and it keeps for me, okay, maybe I say, okay, maybe it's in my dream state, maybe it's another dimensional quantum realm or whatnot. But when it first happened, it was like, okay, this is like, I watched too much sci-fi. I watched a Star Trek movie. I watched, uh, you know, kind of, and it's like, but then my higher being says, if you want us to tell you the story, or if you want us to tell you even it could be something that we all think we're living one dimension, or three-dimensional, but we think we're living in one dimension when we daydream or when we sleep. We could be living a whole different life, our higher beings in another realm, and and our higher beings want to let us know, this is what I did today, this is how I played, and yes, you were that frame for me, you went with me. My higher being is saying, this body, this vessel that looks like me, has been has been it's not only this body and this vessel that you're looking at isn't only in this third dimensional. They like it so much that it's in other dimensions. They play there with it, but they can only do it when I sleep, and I'm going, okay. It's sometimes you go, is that why I wake up tired?
Right. Yes. Could you bring that question back up, please?
Yes. What was the question?
Oh, yeah.
So, actually, I was
question
actually
was-
going to talk about this. Can more than one
It's so small, I can't read it. So forgive me.
Can more than one person experience the same reincarnation messages? Do you think the energy can move from one living vessel to another? So actually, that does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Have y'all heard of soul fragments? So it's basically like, right. So like, for example, let me think of somebody from history. Somebody, who's one of the ones that a lot of people say that they have reincarnations of? King Tut comes to mind, but a lot of people.
You know what? I think a lot of people have a lot of reincarnations of Ra, a lot of Sheba. What's the other goddess? Isis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those.
Like Saint Germain incarnated as Sir Francis Bacon.
Okay.
And then Saint Germain is also channeling through. He's on YouTube. I can't remember his name right now.
It's not Backshore, is it?
Pardon?
What's his name? Backshore? No.
Can't remember his name, but I follow him on YouTube, but I just even when I read books by the gentleman who channels Saint Germain and Ra like to channel through people who open themselves up to knowledge and wisdom. You know,
Right.
it's like at the same time, Ra can channel through Marcus and both me at the same time when we're doing the ascending beyond limitations.
Yes.
You know, I feel Ra moving back and forth when we're speaking.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of like, oh, I gotta go over there. Oh, I gotta, but it's not, oh, I gotta go over there. It's I'm all of consciousness, and I'm there. Sandra and Marcus are allowing consciousness to be whole in this moment,
Yes.
right? So
So
even though it's
Mhm.
fragmented, they're being parts of other beings, human beings, whatnot. It's wholeness. It's now we get back to consciousness, right? That's what consciousness is, the quantum energy of everything acting or making or doing action at the same time, but with different beings. And wow, I gotta rush. Oh wow.
it's beautiful. It's flowing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. So yes, to answer the
Thank
question,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
like they different entities or idols from the past do like channel through people, but you can also go and like find them like in pieces, like even if you channeled them in a past life, you might find them there, you know. So it's just also based on your DNA. So like for example, like your great grandmother had 10 kids. Right. So you can also go into your past life regression. And if you go back to your grandmother, you could also find her there. Right. And act as her as a viewing of her past life as a past life regression meditation. Right. Because it's in your DNA. So it's so if you are a child of, for example, the one I did, Maria Theresa, if you were one of the children of that lineage, which was 12 children, you could also go back and re experience that life because it's part of your DNA. But it doesn't necessarily have to be part of your DNA, but you could feel deeply resonated with something like that just because it is so close to your DNA.
Yeah.
Yes.
DNA,
Ooh.
our DNA is message. Our DNA, most of our DNA is is was set up so that our higher being could leave itself notes on what it wants to do, what it wants to feel, what it needs to go through, you know, how many times it wants to go through it, you know, if it's only going to do a little bit with this person, and then we're going to leave this experience, and then we're going to do something else with it, that kind of thing. So most of our DNA, almost 60% of our DNA was created for a higher being, to kind of like to leave itself a voice memo or write itself, you know, notes to so that it could recall, right? But in the DNA that we have, our DNA is, there are uh, shards of information from our mother, from our father, from our great grandmother, our great grandfather, and our great great grandfather. All our lineage is kind of dropped into those that DNA. So we have information that we can, you know, expound how life is going to move, or where life is going to move, that we get to, you know, I mean, most human beings want to judge it, but when you get to that moment where you get to kind of discern and sit there and say, well, okay, I've got this question, and you sit and you ask your higher being, I got this question for you. I know you're me, why now, or why this, or whatnot. And your higher being can go into that DNA and go, well, you're having this thing with an issue with cancer because we wanted to learn about XYZ, or you're having this thing with a bad relationship because we wanted to learn what unconditional love is, that kind of thing. So those little shards of light are written in our DNA. It's not just for biology.
Right.
When we can get back past the biology of it, and then we can dive into the quantum energy of it, or the spirituality of it, and sit down with it, a whole lot of as my I had a friend who says a whole lot of shit just opens up and just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You know?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
And I think we were mentioning also how like our DNA does give us little downloads as we progress as well. So we'll get a little bit of that voicemail, a little bit more of the next voicemail, as we continue and as we learn things and as we're able to carry more things. Right. So a lot of people say that you have to put things away to carry more things, but also you have to expand your memory capacity as well, like your storage.
Yeah, like a computer does.
Right.
When you're all kind of out of memory, you go and you buy yourself a new memory card, that kind of thing. Our memory gets open. The more our higher being taps into it, the more space it opens up. And the more space it opens up, then it says, oh, I can tell you this and this and this, and I can show you this. And literally, my higher being says, well, you're fighting me on me telling you, everybody is saying to you, Sandy, oh, you're an old soul. And I just kind of, be humble about it and say, well, I'm not going to go there. But my higher being says, I'm just going to tell you, you're so ancient, you don't know. You're so ancient. There is billions of years doesn't even work. You're beyond that. And I said, well, how does that, and I give my higher being a question, well, how does that work for me here and now? I want to stay in the now. I can't go back and relive anything that you've done. So how do I take that and bring it into the now? How do you want me to use it? I mean, because there's a lot of people that want to go back and if they find out they're Lyrans or Atlanteans, that's where they want to go be. But in order to be that, the serious question is, are you ready to die? Because you do have to die a human death in order to start a new physical journey. You can probably go back to that time, that quantum time, but you're going to have to give up the ghost here, right? And it's like, oh, no, I want to live now. So how do I incorporate that into my now? That's where I am now. You want to tell me I'm ancient? Well, how do I bring ancient into my now? So my higher being is training me.
Yes. My ears ringing, because that's another thing that I'm going through too, like enjoying the human experience while like knowing all these things keep coming in. So that's when I had to take a step back from all the past life regressions. I ended up, I wouldn't say getting addicted, but borderline, like wanting to go back. Okay, what was my life before that? What was my life before that? And then I had to bring myself back down and say, okay, I'm Allison right now.
Exactly. Me too.
Right. This is me. So what do I do now? And so it actually healed a lot of dark parts of myself, just like knowing those things and then bringing myself back down, like doing it for me, bringing myself back down and saying, this is me. So I have a lot more fun now. I dance all the time with my kids. Like it really just changed my day to day, being able to, ground back in, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It also helps me when you bring it back to the consciousness. It also helps me understand when I speak light language, when I yield to the divine in me. I used to get really confused because I would have many speaking within me. I would always feel like I was in council and I was speaking to many, and many were speaking and waiting for my words, waiting for the counsel, right? And at first my ego was like, oh, you're something, you're someone, you were someone, you were a queen, you were, you know, what whatever. Okay, you were the oldest part of the divine, the creator, and trying to make it more than what it is, which is we're all, and just say maybe 9 billion of us now on the world, we're all that consciousness, you know. And yes, there are higher beings that are new at playing human, right? And
Yeah.
yes, there are higher beings that are ancient and play humans really well in this third density, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't make when I'm learning when my higher being, I'm constantly always keeping my ego in check because just because my higher being is ancient doesn't make me better than anybody else. It makes me it makes me recall that I have a higher being, that I have a body, and that I have a conscious now and now aware mind, right?
Yeah.
And put my ego in place and say, hey, you know, and if you want to reincarnate again as that, you have to wait until this body takes a nosedive, and I ain't ready yet.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because having to start the game all over, we might as well just play the game we're in, right?
exactly, right. And then you figure, well, we were created with bodies that were meant to go the distance,
That's right.
right? We were meant to live till 750 years
We were just
or
talking.
1,000 years. Pardon?
I'm sorry. I said we were just talking about that about 2 days ago.
Really? Yeah. And it's like we as human beings talked ourselves out of that. That's all.
But we can talk ourselves back into it. I
Except,
see it. I see it coming. Like that if it's not this generation, it's going to be the next generation or the one after that. We're going to be back to 2, 3, 400, and then eventually back up to close to the thousands.
yeah, and then I'm just
Mhm.
like, but that's then when we say what we're talking about now, consciousness, that's the consciousness of the divine,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah.
consciousness of the divine shows up as everything we do. Consciousness of the divine is so massive, it can be your AI. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
It can be every TV program, every music outlet, everything all at once now, right? And us. I mean, it blows my mind. I just kind of go when I go to sleep, I go, do can I sleep now, please? Because you know, I'm constantly going with my consciousness saying, okay, we did this, and this. Now and tomorrow, wait, tomorrow is a new now moment. Let's take a moment to reset. Can I reset, please?
Yes, that my favorite affirmation before bed is the amount of sleep I get tonight is the exact amount of sleep that I need to be well rested for tomorrow. That way they
Exactly.
have their time to do what they need to do, but make sure I get my rest too.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I love the fact that when I go to sleep, that allows my higher being to go play in whatever dimension or wherever they want to follow the quantum energy. And they really in the morning, right before that crust of waking up, my higher being says, "Hey, Sandy, I did this, and this." And, they're giving me the blow by blow, or, giving it to me in 4D or 5D, kind of like motion picture. And then my ego, of course, turns it into, oh, that's only a dream because it doesn't understand it. But if I start to write it down, or even start to look at it as a movie or a picture, then I can go, oh, that's where we play. That's because then I incorporate my higher being back into, that's where we played. Oh, that was so much fun. Tell me more.
Right. Like a status report while you were sleeping. Here's all of your dreams compact in one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Was there any other questions before I do have to go, but because my phone is like, I don't want it to die in the middle of us talking.
Yeah, yeah. So that's actually the questions I had, but something made me think of something for next time. And it was about the spectrum. You know how, like, you mentioned people coming in and being like really advanced in the spirit realm, but not so advanced as a human, or also being advanced in the spirit realm and being advanced as a human. It made me think of the spectrum, like how they put people on a spectrum and label them as something. So that might be something to bring up next time. Is
Yeah.
like the wide spectrum of these diagnoses, right?
Right.
And how that can be
Well,
intertwined with consciousness and just the
yeah.
experience of our souls, right?
Yeah. If you've read the Divine Design, it talks about that when it did the clarion call, the last clarion call that Earth consciousness made, and the call went out to 4 different types of energy healers, and they, you could break it down, kind of like, I think it was from 1940, I think it was 1947 or 48 through 1960 something, which was the baby boomer generation. And they answered the clarion call, and all they had to do was live life. And that energy was going to help Earth consciousness shift, increase her energy so she could shift, and she could evolve, and then humanity would follow. And the second clarion call was um, the next generation, that they were born, they knew they were going to awake. They knew they were going to have an awakening or a recalling. And they knew what they were going to remember, what uh, what their mission was, in order to help Earth consciousness and human humankind each shift and evolve. And then the next one was a little bit more evolved. They had more of a knowing, right? And then the last one was what we consider the children that are being born now, and they're being born on the spectrum. They have autism. The reason why they're on the spectrum, the reason why they have Asperger's, or those are just labels that human beings call them, but they're born totally knowing, and their brain explains it to them differently, and therefore human beings don't understand them, because their brain is accessing all the energy in earth consciousness and their higher being, their higher being, earth consciousness, and human form,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, once I learned that, I don't think the divine design is the last word on it, but the divine design helped me understand how that energy is moving, how we are very important. We as human beings are very important to earth consciousness, and earth consciousness is very we're essential to each other. As earth consciousness grows, shifts, and evolves, so does mankind. We will follow, because that's part of aware consciousness. We are now aware that we are conscious, and that we need to shift, and that we need to evolve, and that there are going to be. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he told me, I explained it so well to him. I said, the reason why the male penis and and the female vagina is very important is because it creates more vehicles so souls or our higher beings can have a journey. It's not because it's sacred. It's not because it's religious. It's not because it has to be, but it's because that's how they create more bodies for the souls to have a vehicle in. It's kind of like just going into Ford or Chevrolet and the vehicles come off the line. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear it as basic as that. It doesn't, the penis and the vagina don't have anything to do with love. It doesn't have anything to do with right or wrong. It's a perfect system that the divine created so that they would always have enough vehicles so that every higher being from every realm could come and play in play in this duality, and play with consciousness, you know, and so that the divine could seek itself in being Marcus and being Ally and being Sandra, and say, ooh, that's good, let's do that again. It's not, we get to see the good and the bad or feel happy or sad, but the divine just says, well, okay, that's interesting, okay, and then you get to move on, so. But guys, I could I as a Gemini could talk all the time, but my phone is going to say nope.
I'm here with two Geminis.
You're here with two Geminis. Yes, you
Oh
are.
man, I love
Yes.
Geminis.
Yeah. We got it. We're an interesting and I think because we balance what most people believe, two different personalities. And this is where I think I think my higher being has a split personality. Okay. Not just, it's not split, and it's not my egoic self and my higher being. I literally think that my higher being shares a space with another being sometimes.
That's valid. Y'all are able to like speak to the crowd and then speak to your family. So I feel like that's like a superpower, like having that ability to shift between like those roles, like y'all are able to shift between those roles. That way y'all have room for your intellectual conversations, and then you also have room for love and enjoyment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes it can, for me it can go, okay, I need to take a breather. I need to, I need to cook. I'm finding out, I'm understanding it more now as I'm learning more about me. It's okay for me to cocoon. It's okay
Yeah.
for me to get quiet. You know, it's okay for me to tell my ego, let's take a break. You know, I got too much energy coursing and it's pulling me in all directions. Let's just take a break. You know,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I have enjoyed this, guys. I really have. I hope to do this again with you. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for the invitation.
Yes. Thank you for joining. I have some new topics for the next one just
Absolutely.
based on this one. So I feel a flow coming. I just feel it flowing. Oh man, this is going to be great.
Uh,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Marcus, for setting up the space and setting up that nice intro and everything.
that was beautiful. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
Thank
then
you
we
guys.
know Marcus is so creative. I have to just once again I'm telling you, Marcus, I am so proud of you. Thank you so much for being
Thank you.
you. Okay? Unconditionally, authentically you. Thank you so much. And I gotta go. How do I exit? I think it's at the my phone has all these little, it has an X here, it has a box here,
You just
and
turn it
I
off.
just
Turn the app off.
pardon?
Just turn the app off.
Okay.
It'll probably kick you out.
Okay, yeah, before it just dives. All right, take care, everyone.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Love you. Wow.
This has
What a
been
good
a great
episode.
topic. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you all who's been watching.
It's
Thank you for your great questions and comments. This has been great.
so Lunar Queen. Are you hopping off? You need to get going right now.
I was thinking about it. Did you have a question or did you want to keep going?
My question for you is, what is okay? Trying to ground this question in. Wow. What is one thing that you would tell the public, for anybody that could be going through an awakening right now of their past lives or higher self connection? What is one thing you could tell them right now?
So, if you're going through your awakening or you're just now figuring out about past lives and those connections, they're going to tell you so many different ways as to how you should do it or the ideal way or listening to mediums. But the best way, in my opinion, to advise anybody to do anything is to do it on your own time, like during the times when it feels right for you to do it, because you don't want to overload yourself. And you also don't want to just overdo it. You know, like I was saying, I was going through like, okay, what was my life before that? What was my life before that? And I was just like going down this path, and I had a whole journal. Well, I still have the journal, but I was writing in my journal and going through everything and trying to make it all align. And then I had to personally like take myself out and stop myself and say, hold on, how can I ground into this moment, right? So that would be the best advice I can give to anybody who might be going through their awakening and learning about past lives right now, is to let it flow as it's meant to flow to you. And just like Sandra was saying, like, how do you integrate each part into your life now, you know? So just like as you learn something about your past life, for me personally, like my Maria Teresa, you know, I was like, okay, so what can I learn from being Maria Teresa? And it's like, okay, my DNA or my soul has a capability of leading masses into greater things. So it gave me the courage to step up a little bit more, because my whole life I've always I've always been big sister energy, right? Big sister, taking care of everybody in the group homes, anywhere. All the children, like the children who were in group homes, they would always come sit with me on the bus. I always felt like everybody's big sister, Even at one point, I've always been relatively smaller, right? And I was called Big Ally. So I really took that from just being big sister to like now I'm mom, now I'm like teacher, and integrating like the capacity of what I learned about my past life and turning it into what can I do with this life, knowing that that's who I was, or that's an energy I can carry, So learning how to take those things that you've learned and push forward with them is going to be the best way, in my opinion, to continue your journey. And I feel like that would be most beneficial to whomever might be going through that.
Absolutely. Now, do you offer like a astral travel kind of like, soul retrieval practice for people to do with you?
I've done it with friends. It's just so complex. I'm like somebody who likes hardcore facts and hard knowledge, so I don't mind doing it with people. I'd rather teach you how to do it yourself. That's just how I am. Just because there are soul fragments and there's retrievals. And for example, like you pulled the sword out of your third eye. It's like when I want to do those things, I like to be super thorough. So if I like see a sword in somebody's arm or something, I'm gonna be like, hold on, wait a minute, let's fix that, and then keep going. So in the future, possibly, because I do know how to access those things and how to put people under and guide them to those things. But no, for now, I'll just teach you how to astral project and find it yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the way though nowadays, is letting others be able to obtain the knowledge and then be able to embody it in their life. And then that creates the ripple, and then the more self-sufficient everyone is, the more we can just be in our sovereignty and just be in our empowerment as who it is that we really are.
Right. And it's also nice to, go find these things by yourself and then go to a medium who can confirm it for you without you saying anything. It just validates yourself more deeply and makes you trust yourself more.
Yeah. And for everybody out there, definitely discern on who those mediums are. Discernment is a big key in this world, I'll tell you that. Big key.
If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no.
Yeah, I agree. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share tonight?
No, but I am looking forward to talking about the spectrum. And also something came to me about NPCs and how we program them. So I'm looking forward to chatting about that next time.
Yes, that would be awesome. We're probably thinking not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. Say Tuesday. Saturday.
I was about to say, I think Saturday's good.
All right, cool. Sounds good. So everybody look out for part 2 or episode 2 of What is Consciousness, and that will be not next Saturday, but the Saturday afterwards. I think the date is going to be the 22nd or the 23rd. Oh man, 11/22. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be 11/22.
Oh, it is 11/22. Oh, okay, cool. Well, you heard it then. 11/22 will be episode 2 of What is Consciousness, and we'll be on a magical gateway portal. So we'll see what kind of things we brew up for you guys. We might get a little witchy and stir up a little elemental magic with you guys in the gateway portal. I look forward to seeing you guys there because things are getting spicy. So we'll see how these next 2 weeks go. We got some, 3-eye Atlas activity going on. We now have
Yeah.
a partner that's flying with 3i Atlas now. So we got 2 ships coming into the field. We got some activity over Canada going on. We got some stuff going on. They got airports shutting down. So everybody just enjoy this process and get your popcorn ready. That's all I got to say.
Right. Strap yourselves in. Yeah, it's crazy that you mentioned, you said next Tuesday, but you meant Saturday. Next Tuesday is 11/11. So here we go.
Totally. That's so funny. Wow. I will be live though on next Tuesday. I will be live at 9 a.m. Eastern for my Grand Rising of Christo Ally. So I will see you guys there.
Okay.
But with that being said, I'm going to play a video at the end of this for you guys. If you guys want to stay put and enjoy this video is going to kind of be another perspective recapping reincarnation, our DNA memory, and past lives. So with that, everybody have a blessed night. Lunar Queen, rest well over there. Thank you for joining. And shout out to Sandra for coming on and just expressing and being vulnerable with all of us. It was really beautiful tonight. So thank you all that have joined us. One love.
Thank you. Good night.
Ooh.
Is reincarnation random, or are we reborn into the same bloodlines? The truth is, it's both. There are 2 systems at play. 1, the natural cycle, where souls move through different lives based on energy, lessons, and resonance. 2, the controlled cycle, where souls are deliberately recycled into specific bloodlines to maintain power and control. Most people experience the natural cycle, where reincarnation is not random but based on vibration, memory, and past connections. But for elite bloodlines and ruling families, reincarnation is manipulated, and souls are kept within the same genetic lines on purpose. Souls reincarnate into different lives. Most souls move freely. They reincarnate based on energetic resonance. You are drawn to families, locations, and lives that match your soul's frequency. If you have unresolved energy with a certain soul, you may be reborn near them. Some souls choose their families before they are born. Some souls are pulled into a body at random. Some are forced back into the same bloodline by those who manipulate the cycle. It all depends on awareness, energy, and control. Here's how it works. The free choice system, rare but real. Some souls choose their families before reincarnation. Before coming back, they exist in a state of pure consciousness, aware, free, and able to see the full picture. In this state, they decide which parents will best help their soul's evolution, which challenges they need to experience, which past life connections they want to reunite with. These are the souls who enter life with purpose, deep intuition, and a strong sense of destiny. They remember their past selves. They recognize people from other lives. They instinctively know why they are here. But this is rare because most people do not get to choose. Most souls move freely. They reincarnate based on energetic resonance. You are drawn to families, locations, and lives that match your soul's frequency. If you have unresolved energy with a certain soul, you may be reborn near them. Past life agreements. Some souls make pacts to return together again and again as different people. This is why you sometimes meet someone and feel like you've known them forever. Children remember past lives in entirely different countries or families. Some people are born into completely new circumstances, breaking away from previous lifetimes. In this system, souls are not bound to bloodlines. A soul who was once an Egyptian scribe could be reborn as a scientist in modern France. A warrior from feudal Japan could return as an artist in Brazil. Reincarnation follows energy, not genetics. This is how growth happens, by experiencing different perspectives, different cultures, different timelines. Most people experience the natural cycle, where reincarnation is not random but based on vibration, memory, and past connections. But for elite bloodlines and ruling families, reincarnation is manipulated, and souls are kept within the same genetic lines on purpose. But some don't want the system to be free. They want to control who comes back and where. For thousands of years, ruling families have manipulated reincarnation to ensure their own souls return to the same genetic lines. Why? Because they do not want outsiders taking over. Royal families practiced inbreeding, not just to keep power, but to ensure their same souls were reborn into their own bloodline. Elite secret societies track lineages because they believe in soul continuity through DNA. Certain families control who they marry because they want to keep the same energy in their genetic pool. They do not reincarnate like the rest of us. Their system is designed to pull the same souls back into the same families, generation after generation. This is why you see the same ruling bloodlines throughout history, always in power, because they are the same people, just wearing different faces. And if you are an average person, your reincarnation is likely part of the natural cycle. Your soul moves based on manipulation and connections. You may be reborn into entirely different places, families, and time periods. You are not bound to one genetic line. But if you come from certain bloodlines, reincarnation may have been deliberately controlled. You may be recycling through the same lineage over and over. Your soul may be trapped in a specific cycle tied to one family's fate. Your past selves may have been the same rulers, kings, and elites you read about in history books. Most of the world follows the natural cycle, the powerful follow the controlled cycle. That is how they keep their dynasties intact. And that is why the same families have ruled for thousands of years, because they are literally the same souls coming back again and again. How to break free from the cycle? If you suspect you're part of a controlled reincarnation cycle, there is a way out. You must remember, the system works because of forgetting. Birth, your memories are wiped. You are raised to believe you are just a body, just an individual, just a new soul. And you are kept distracted, so you never realize the pattern. The moment you wake up to it, the moment you start seeing the cycle, you break free. This is why meditation, dream work, and past life regression are so powerful. Because the more you remember, the harder it is for the system to trap you again. You are more than a body. Reincarnation is not random, but it is also not rigid. You are not your DNA. You are not just a genetic program following a biological path. You are something far older, far greater, far more powerful. And when you die, you do not have to return to the same system. You can choose. But first you must wake up to the cycle, because once you see it, you can leave it. DNA is a memory storage device. We are taught that DNA is purely biological, a blueprint for our body, inherited from our parents. DNA stores memories, not just of our own lives, but of our ancestors. Scientists call this epigenetics, the study of how trauma, fears, and experiences are passed down through generations. DNA acts like an antenna, constantly interacting with the quantum field, absorbing information from beyond the physical world. DNA is programmable, meaning that experiences, thoughts, and energies can alter the very genetic code we pass on. So what does this mean? It means you are connected to your ancestors, not just by biology, but by memory, by energy, by the reincarnation cycle itself. Your DNA carries not just the body of your ancestors, but the echoes of their souls. Many cultures believe that souls often reincarnate within the same family line. Not always, but often enough that certain patterns emerge. A child is born and remembers things from a great-grandparent's life. A baby in India recalls details of a past life from a nearby village, often within their own extended family. Pharaohs, emperors, and ruling bloodlines obsess over keeping their lineage pure, because DNA is more than a blueprint. It is a container of soul memory, a way for certain energies to continue a path they started long ago. You are not just related to your ancestors by blood, you are them returning to continue the story. What about new souls? How do they enter? If souls are being reborn within the same genetic lines, how do new souls enter the cycle? The answer: some souls do not return. They escape the system, ascend, or move beyond the reincarnation cycle, leaving empty spaces in the pattern. And when that happens, new souls take their place. Some come from other families, other timelines, other dimensions. Some come from outside the human cycle entirely, new consciousness entering this world for the first time. That is why some people feel like they have lived here forever, and others feel like they are completely new, foreign, lost in this world. Because some belong to the ancient cycle, and others are just stepping into it. If you are reborn into the same DNA over and over, how do you escape? How do you break free from a cycle that has kept you locked in for lifetimes? But the moment you start to recognize the cycle, the moment you see the patterns, the energies, the truths that have been hidden, you start to break free. And when enough people wake up, when enough souls remember who they are, the bloodline trap collapses, the system resets in a new way, and the ones who have ruled for centuries lose their power, because for the first time, souls will choose their next path instead of being recycled into the same prison, and the game will never be the same again.